babies don't cry that much.
Sorry, Brandon. I'm locking you in, Brandon. You're stuck. Yeah. Okay, today we're talking about using proportions to solve word problems. It's going to be a super short lesson. All of your problems obviously are going to be word problems. Guess what that means? Googling the answers is going to be a lot more difficult, so pay attention and learn how to do them. Pay attention and learn how to do them. Okay, so we're setting up proportions to solve these. When we set up a proportion, as it says on your notes, remember to keep the same labels across from each other. If miles are on top, miles go on top. If inches are on bottom, inches go on bottom. After you set up your original proportion, put in the information you know, figure out what you're solving for. So, on a Chamber of Commerce strip, this is on the back of your paper. The map of Abita Springs, 5 miles corresponds to 2 inches. How many miles corresponds to 7 inches? First, we set up our proportion with our labels. If you start with the words and figure out what goes where, it's easier to put in your numbers. So we know miles go across from miles and inches go across from inches. What information do we have in this problem? 5 miles, so we can put that on top. Ooh, why is it not writing? 5 miles is equal to how many inches? 2. We also know from our problem that we are trying to find out how many miles 7 inches equal. So we have 7 inches there. That leaves us with this value here that we are looking for. So once we have, I put one on your desk already. I couldn't remember. So once we have that, you guys know how to solve this, right? What do? Do what?
5 times 2 divided by 7.
Nope.
5 times 7 divided by 2.
5 times 7 divided by 2. So we cross multiply and then divide, and we end up with a fraction of 17.5 is how many miles that 7 inches is going to represent. Do what now? Okay. So you should have some of this written on your notes. So you always start with that initial proportion. Figure out what you're setting up. Second question, the standard dose of antibiotics is 3 cc's for every 50 pounds of body weight. At this rate, find the dose for a 130-pound woman. What are our 2 labels that we need to set up our ratio? Pounds and cc's. So we know 3 cc's for every pound. Then we fill in our numbers. What numbers do we know?
3, 50.
So 3 for every 50. And we are trying to find the cc's for 130. How do I solve this? 3 times 130 divided by 50. What is 3 times 130? Anybody know?
390.
390. So I have to take 390 and divide that by 50. Is that going to work out evenly? It is not. It is not. So we end up with 7.8 cc's. Do what now?
Never mind. I seen it in there and I was like, what the hell, but never mind. I'll
Okay.
figure it out.
Instead of CC's, they put an N.
There you go.
Okay. So that is all we are doing today is reading these word problems, setting up our original proportions, substituting in the numbers we know.
That's gonna be
It is going to be easy.
Very,
Huh?
it's really very easy.
It is really very easy as long as you take time to set up the proportions.
This one's gonna be 50 over 2,400. You're gonna take 50.
Lower down.
Whoa, we got to set up the proportion. Don't try to work ahead.
I can do it right now. You wanna go for it?
Write it down. So we have a 50-pound bag of fertilizer, covers 2,400 square feet of lawn. How many bags of fertilizer are needed to cover 2 squares containing 15,360 square feet of lawn? So I have,
Oh, yeah.
goes on the top,
50.
50 what?
Um,
So I have pounds over
square feet.
square feet.
And she's gonna be 32.
So I put 50 pounds over 2,400. And then I put a number I don't know, right? I don't know how many pounds it's going to take me for 15,360.
Where do I get one from?
Because they said it's one bag
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of 50 pounds.
Oh.
It's all right. You just have to divide by 50 when you're done doing it that way.
Huh?
Like at the way we have it wrote down. I wrote it down the same way. 50 over 2,400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can still do it that way. Instead of saying one bag, I can say it's 50 pounds over 2,400.
And she's gonna be 32. Or, yeah.
And then
32.
15,360. It's not going to write over there. The answer's not 32, Blake, because you have to divide by 50 when you're done. Because when I take 50 times 15, okay, give me a.
0.64.
I feel like that's confusing.
So I take 50 times 15,360. What's 50 times 15,360? You got a calculator in your hand. Do it for me real quick.
50 times.
50 times 15,360. 768,000. And then I'm going to divide that by 2,400. That gives me what?
184360000.
Excuse me?
No, that's
I got a big number on there.
Which is it? 320 or 32?
32.
You guys all have calculators. Work it out and tell me
The answer's
What?
1.4.
what. Okay, but you would not know how to get that because you all said this is a 50
I'll type it on it. I'll type it all in and
50-pound bag of fertilizer. So I'm telling you how to get the answer from 50 pounds of fertilizer.
I guess it's 320 now.
Okay, so that.
It was 32. Calm down.
So we
The
cross.
first said 2 was never 32. It was always 320. I'm your tits. Sorry.
Leave.
What?
I've asked you 17 times language today.
I ain't
Shut
said
your
nothing
mouth.
Like 5. I ain't screaming the F
Then
word
stop.
around.
Stop. Just answer my question.
I'll just be quiet.
What is this when I divide? 320, right? 320. But that's not how many bags. It's asking you how many bags of fertilizer we need. That's how many pounds of fertilizer we need. Okay? When we set up our equation, we looked at the numbers in the problem. We said that's how many pounds of fertilizer we need. Now we need to know how many bags that is. So I have to take that answer and divide it by
80.
50 because there's 50 pounds in one bag. So you can't just take those numbers that it gives you and think that that's immediately the right answer. Okay, you got to think about what you're doing and see if that answers the question. When we set up our proportions, we said pounds per feet, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the information it gives us. We just need to make sure that at the end, it says how many pounds of fertilizer, but it doesn't. It says bags. So we still have to divide that answer by 50, and you should end up with 6.4. You understand how we got here?
Yeah. Our homework online.
Your homework is online. Do not Google your answers. Set up proportions. In fact, turn in a paper with your work. With your
I
proportions.
don't Google my answers online.
It won't.
Good.
It won't.
Why don't you show up
Even
if they
Google
leave
Eats.
Google?
I want to see the proportions you set up. Okay? So write out your proportions. There's only 13 problems. I want to see the proportions you set up for this online assignment. You can use your calculators to do all the multiplying and dividing. I want to see on paper proportions you set up. You're not getting the answer, Miss Todd?
No.
What if I go through
320 divided by, oh, that's why I did not fix. I have 230. Okay. 320